Why is Malaysia, not Singapore, not Indonesia, not even China quietly becoming the richest nation in South Asia? It's the underdog story nobody saw coming. While Singapore grabs headlines, Indonesia flexes its size, and China dominates world trade, Malaysia has been quietly building an economy that may soon outshine them all. From controlling one of the world's most important shipping lanes, to dominating semiconductors, to attracting billions in foreign investment, Malaysia is positioning itself as a true economic powerhouse. And in this video, we'll break down 20 key reasons why Malaysia's rise is rewriting the balance of power in Asia. Stay with me. By the end, you'll see why investors, tech giants, and even governments are betting on Malaysia's future. Reason number 1, the strategic location. Malaysia sits on the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest trade routes on Earth. Nearly a quarter of the world's goods flow through this narrow stretch of water, oil, electronics, raw materials. Unlike China, which depends on this passage, or Indonesia, which struggles with logistics, Malaysia sits right in the middle and knows how to use it. Its ports, Port Klang and Tanjung, Palapas rival even Singapore's legendary shipping hub. But here's the difference. Malaysia offers lower costs and room to expand. This makes Malaysia not just a trading nation, but a gatekeeper of world commerce. Reason number 2, a diverse economy. Singapore thrives on finance. Indonesia leans on resources. China is the world's factory. But Malaysia spreads its bets. Palm oil, oil and gas, high-tech manufacturing, tourism, services. When one sector slows, another picks up. That's resilience. That's balance. Malaysia isn't tied to a single pillar. It's building an economy on many, and that's why it weathers global shocks better than most. Reason number 3, a high-tech manufacturing hub. Here's a fact few people know. Malaysia is one of the world's top semiconductor producers. These tiny chips power everything, from your phone, to your car, to the future of artificial intelligence. In Penang's free trade zone, known as the Silicon Valley of the East, companies like Intel and AMD produce billions in exports. Singapore focuses more on research and finance. Indonesia is still catching up. And China? It faces restrictions and rising costs. Malaysia has carved its niche, reliable, affordable, and absolutely essential in the global tech supply chain. Whoever controls the chips controls the future, and Malaysia knows it.
Reason 4, oil and gas wealth. Behind Malaysia's modern skylines lies another engine of power, energy. Through Petronas, one of the most profitable oil companies on the planet, Malaysia exports oil and natural gas across Asia. These revenues don't just build wealth, they build highways, airports, schools. Compare that to Singapore, rich but dependent on imports. Indonesia, resource-rich but often slowed by inefficiency. And China, massive, but still reliant on shipments that pass through Malaysia's backyard. Malaysia has energy, and more importantly, leverage. Reason 5, foreign direct investment. Why are global companies pouring billions into Malaysia? Because it's the perfect balance. Cheaper than Singapore, more stable than Indonesia, less risky than China. It's the Goldilocks option for investors. Not too costly, not too chaotic, not too political. From tech giants to pharmaceutical firms, foreign companies are setting up here, creating jobs and weaving Malaysia deeper into the global economy. Reason 6, world-class infrastructure. Infrastructure is the skeleton of growth, and Malaysia has built one of the best networks in Southeast Asia. The sleek Kuala Lumpur International Airport, megaports like Port Klang, a highway system that connects the nation. Singapore's infrastructure is world-class, but land is limited. Indonesia has land, but struggles with bottlenecks. China builds big, but often builds debt. Malaysia, it builds efficiently, at scale, and with global trade in mind. It's not just infrastructure for Malaysians, it's infrastructure for the world. Reason 7, a growing middle class. The middle class is the heartbeat of any economy, and in Malaysia it's growing fast. More Malaysians are moving up, earning more, spending more, on cars, homes, education, leisure. Singapore's middle class is wealthy, but growth has slowed. Indonesia's is big but unequal. China's lifted millions, but now faces rising costs. Malaysia is in the sweet spot. Big enough to matter, young enough to grow. That rising middle class means rising demand. And rising demand means unstoppable growth. Reason 8, tourism powerhouse. Malaysia is a rare mix, culture, nature, modernity. The beaches of Langkawi, the street food of Penang, the towers of Kuala Lumpur. Millions of tourists pour in each year, fueling airlines, hotels, and small businesses alike. Singapore attracts luxury, but it's small. Indonesia has Bali, but beyond that, gaps remain. China has scale, but politics and pollution weigh it down. Malaysia offers something unique, affordable like Indonesia, modern like Singapore, and open to the world. Reason 14, rising financial hub. Most people think of Singapore when they hear Asian finance, but Malaysia has been building its own financial muscle. Kuala Lumpur is now a recognized hub for Islamic finance, managing billions in assets for the Muslim world. This gives Malaysia an edge Singapore doesn't have, Indonesia hasn't mastered, and China can't replicate. As Islamic banking grows, projected to hit trillions in assets, Malaysia is positioning itself as the undisputed center. Reason 15, natural resources beyond oil. Malaysia isn't just oil and palm. It has rubber, tin, timber, rare earth minerals. And here's the twist. These are the very materials powering the global shift to green technology. EV batteries, renewable energy, high-tech manufacturing. Indonesia has nickel, China controls rare earths. But Malaysia has a balanced portfolio, and with stability on its side, it's becoming a trusted supplier. Reason 16, education and universities. Malaysia is investing heavily in education. Universities like University Malaya are climbing global rankings. International students from Asia, Africa, and the Middle East are choosing Malaysia, not just for affordability, but for quality. Singapore is world-class but expensive. Indonesia has scale but struggles in quality. China has prestige but faces cultural barriers. Malaysia sits in the middle, good, affordable, and accessible. And that creates a pipeline of talent. Reason 17, digital economy push. From e-commerce to fintech, Malaysia is going digital fast. Startups are thriving in Kuala Lumpur. Government programs are fueling innovation. And with English as a common language, foreign companies find it easy to plug in. Singapore leads in tech finance. Indonesia leads in consumer apps. China leads in scale. But Malaysia is building a hybrid digital economy, smart, affordable, and regional in scope. That's why giants like Grab and Shopee built their roots here. Reason 18, food and agriculture security. While Singapore imports nearly all of its food, Malaysia grows much of its own. From rice to palm oil, from fisheries to fruit, Malaysia has natural food security built in. Indonesia also has land, but distribution is messy. China can produce, but often faces shortages. Malaysia has the balance: fertile land, modern farming, and access to both domestic and global markets. And in an era of food crises, that's a huge strength. Reason 19, young demographics. Malaysia is still young. Half the population is under 35. Compare that to Singapore, which is rapidly aging, or China, where birth rates are collapsing. A young population means more workers, more innovation, more consumers. This demographic advantage is fuel that will power Malaysia for decades to come. Reason 20, global recognition. Finally, Malaysia is no longer just a developing country. It's now classified as an upper-middle income economy by the world. Bank investors are noticing, travelers are noticing, students, workers, and even rival nations are noticing. Singapore may be richer per capita, Indonesia may be bigger, China may be louder, but Malaysia is steady, growing, rising. And in the next decade, it could quietly outshine them all. Conclusion. So here's the big picture. Singapore may still shine as the region's financial jewel. Indonesia may boast size and resources. China may dominate headlines and global trade. But Malaysia is the quiet player that has been putting all the pieces together. Strategic location, a diverse economy, energy, technology, a skilled workforce, stability, youth, global connections. Piece by piece, Malaysia is shaping itself not just as a regional power, but as a global one. And that's the lesson here. Sometimes the richest, most powerful nations aren't the loudest or the biggest. Sometimes the real winners are the ones who build quietly, consistently, and strategically. Malaysia is proving that the future of wealth in Asia may not belong only to giants like Singapore, Indonesia, or China. It may belong to the quiet powerhouse rising in between them.